And we are recording. All right. I'm here with Gabe. All right. So, this is Gabe Capobianchi, correct?
I'll take it.
All
Yes.
right. Good. Was that wrong?
I was pretty close.
All right. Great. I don't like to mispronounce people's
Nah.
names. So, all right. So Gabe owns Obstacle Wonderland and hosts a bunch of events on his course every year. And so, without me explaining any of them, let's get right into it. All right. So, can you tell me a little bit about Obstacle Wonderland? And I'd like to start with the history, like how it got started, where it is, and all of those fun things.
So I have to say, I think as I love, I really love the story behind it because it was only like I'm not an obstacle course racer, like I never was.
Mm-hmm.
I was just starting my fitness journey 5 years ago, and I did my first. It's funny every time I say this. I did my first Spartan race at at Sterling Forest, and everybody says, "Oh yeah, that was mine also," that was 2019, I believe. So
Okay.
I did that, and then the world shut down after that, right?
Sure
So
did.
you
Sure
just
did.
you get excited, and all of a sudden the world shuts down. And I was just starting to, um, I was actually overweight and everything. So that maybe a year before that, I lost some weight. I started exercising. I actually went to this gentleman's place. His name is Clay Speakman. I don't know if you know him, but
Yeah.
he's a huge OCR guy, and he had like an OCR gym down not too far from here because I wanted to learn how to climb a rope. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, long story short is he has a little group of folks that always go down there, and I became friendly with them, and then the world started shutting down. So I have 16 acres, which is now Obstacle Wonderland, but it was nothing. Like I've lived here for 10 years and I've really never went back there. So I just said, well, I mean, I have all this. So I started making trails and exercising, doing a little hiking. There was a guy here that had fixed my deck and I had leftover wood. So I put it together and made a wall. Right. And
Nice.
so I was sharing this with those guys from Clay's group. And they're just like, well, so what are you doing up there? Everybody started getting curious. What are you doing? Because, if you were an OCR guy or somebody that exercised and there was nothing you could, all the gyms were closed, you were looking for a place. And boy, I'll tell you, if you were to look at the pictures, it was just grass. It was just grass. And then next thing you know, we just started putting this. I put a wall up, and then had a guy make me Atlas balls, and I got some hay for a spear. Next thing you know, I was putting in telephone poles putting in telephone poles to have
Nice.
for ropes and stuff. It was crazy. But I really owe a lot of it to Clay, because Clay is the one with the vision. I had zero. I didn't know anything about this, but he just saw, and we started hosting little events. I have a giant. It was just a little. It was just like 20 people. It was just kind of us in the beginning, and I have a giant oak tree that I had some guy climb up it to hook a thing up for a rope, before I put my other things on there. So, and it was just crazy just to watch the evolution of the whole thing. But yeah, that was probably the best times because we were all just like a cohesive group. And but I really owe it to Clay. Clay really, he really helped. He had the vision for this whole thing. But so now it's turned into this, and now I hold events, and it's great. It's just turned into this giant thing that people really, I will tell you this quick story though. When I first started doing it, it was so interesting. I couldn't even grasp I couldn't grasp it. But during that whole COVID times when people were coming here, like there were people crying saying, "You changed my life. You changed my life."
Wow.
Like, because they were just, everybody was just stuck in a house or just stuck in a spot and there was nowhere to go. And things were so crazy out in the world. and here I am building a giant obstacle course in my backyard, and people were coming here. Everybody had masks on. They were willing to do whatever it took. But just to see, like, some of the, like, it's just like I couldn't like I just couldn't, like, I still can't grasp it. But just to see people just so genuinely thankful, like, and people still say, because it's a very small, it's like, this is a place where somebody who's so intimidated with Spartan and those big races, but they want to do it, but they're intimidated. They don't want to be judged, all that stuff. They come here, and here, I make Twinkies, and you can use my bathroom if you don't want to use the porta potty. It's just like that family vibe. We have kids running around. I have some of the greatest pictures with parents and their kids, getting them to go across the Olympus wall and stuff like that. So it's kind of really transitioned into that. I don't know how it veered off in there, but it's just, there's so much to this course that like, it's just kind of amazing.
That's awesome. That's an awesome origin story. It's awesome that you got to do that at a time when people didn't have access to gyms, or almost no access to gyms, and like actually get people together for community and everything, which is a large part of what OCR is in general. That's a lot of the reason why a lot of people stick with it is the community. So that's awesome. So you started it from nothing, just grass fields essentially. And how many obstacles are you up to now? Do you know?
Oh boy. So I'll tell you. Okay. So if you've never seen my field, but if you've seen pictures, I have a very unique course where a lot of the obstacles are on, say, about an acre. It's all right. It's all open. So you as a spectator, you can get a bird's eye view and just watch everybody. It just looks like a giant ant farm. Sometimes you just see people going over obstacles, and then they go back into the woods and they come back out. So with that being said, it's almost like a gauntlet kind of thing. So I'm about 20 obstacles or so, because but I can rotate. Like, when you come another time, it might be something different.
Sure.
So I kind of rotate stuff in and out, because I've accumulated obstacles from other obstacle courses that have turned themselves, they've closed. So I've I went and bought some stuff, and recently acquired some other stuff that from another gym. I mean, it's sad, but I keep their logo up there, right? And this way, it's kind of like nostalgic. When they come, they see the different things, and the owners appreciate that also. But I'm going to say 20, but I have at least 30, 35 that, at any point I can just kind of rotate in and out, but I try not to, keep it around 20 per race.
Nice. That's a good number. And how long do you typically make the courses? I know you change like the length of the event, but how long is the course itself, one lap normally?
So believe it or not, I can get a 5K out of it.
Nice.
One lap. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I use every single inch of my property. It's just like, but the one thing is if you ask anybody who's come here, like I squeezed every blood from the stone, but you're not going to get lost. Like, I mark it so well. One thing is I spend money on tape, and I try to always make things. So yeah, it's 3 miles. Like, I can get 3 miles between weaving in and out of the trails and then coming back. Yeah, I can get 3 miles. And then the double loop would be like a 10K. And we just recently had a multi-lap where they went 3 and 6 hours. So it's good. It's good. Yeah.
So that's 6 hour one. Sorry, go on.
It's deceivingly tough. Yeah, even though it's my backyard, like,
right.
It can stick with the big boys.
So last year, I think was the first year I heard about your event. It might have been the year before. So I think you've seen it every year. We post an article with like as many small/local obstacle course races we can around the country. And I think last year was the first year I heard about, maybe the year before. I can't remember. But I saw the 6 hour event. or maybe it was 4 last year. I think you had the 6 last year as well, though. And I was like, man, that would be so fun to do, because a lot of there used to be a handful of different races that would do multi-hour events. Now it's down to essentially Spartan Tough Mudder. And then a few that do it, but nothing up to 6 hours. And I like the long stuff. So that was very tempting. The only reason I didn't is just because of distance and time for travel.
Mhm.
But hopefully one day, because that would be awesome. You
Well,
just had.
we'll tell you this, couch right here.
Okay, good to know.
There might
Good
be
to
other
know.
people. There might be other people like on the floor. Or I mean,
Oh, I'll sleep on the floor. I'm used to it. It's all
I've
good.
had 4 or 5 people sleeping inside my house the night before the race.
That's
My
awesome.
house is wide open. You come, you stay. You want to stay for the race? No problem, easy peasy.
I might be taping you up on that offer next year then. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Sure.
For the event, you had an event this past weekend,
Mhm.
2-day event. Can you talk a little bit about the distances you had, and just like a little bit about each of those separate days? Because I assume they were different events technically.
So what I tried to do this year, and a lot of it is really pertains to the Spartan schedule, all those the big, right?
Sure.
Because I'm not gonna. I'm so inexperienced with this still that I guess I gotta turn that off. Sorry.
I didn't even hear it.
So I I really I'm good at before the race series starts and after the race series ends. Like so, just before the Vernon race in April,
Mhm.
and then after in October when everything closes down because I'm permanent. So
Right.
so last year I had one in March and I had one in April.
Okay.
The March was a 6-hour multi-lap, but it was freezing. I mean, it was a great event. I mean, people came, but boy, was it cold. And then I had another race in April, which was more of like the 5K, 10K, and the kids race. Because
Got it.
so this year I said I'm just going to do the April race because it's not that I don't mind the cold, which I do, but I'm the only I don't have a team of people to help me prep for the race.
Right.
So I go out there and I gotta, check the obstacles, make sure everything is good. And I'm a huge proponent of safety. So after a winter, and because I have a permanent course, I got to go out there and make sure nothing's going to break, nothing's going to, and who knows how much snow. One year we got like, one year for one of my races, it snowed like it was like 2 feet of snow. So I had to get my friend to come in with his bobcat. I mean, it was one of the greatest races because
Yeah,
we
that'd be epic.
we turned the snow into giant, he barreled it up and everybody had a great time. But to go back to this one is so this one I had just in April. So it was a Saturday was a 6-hour and 3-hour multi-lap. And Sunday was the kids. We did a kids Easter egg hunt. We do a kids race every year also for each one of the races. And then it was a 5K and a 10K.
Come back. Things still going, so we should be good.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. It cut off. I stopped. It's froze on you when you said going back to this weekend for the
Yep.
event.
So Saturday I had a 3-hour and a 6-hour multi-lap race, and then Sunday was the kids race, which we had an Easter egg hunt first for the
Nice.
kids. I know a week later, but it was great because I got stuff on clearance, and and then we did the kids race, and then the 5 and 10K, which was great. Like that was the, what's funny is Saturday was just all these just unbelievable like machines of athletes that were there pounding it out. It was unbelievable. And then Sunday was just, it was just people like me and just a lot of groups, a couple of groups came of families came and so it's just that two different experiences, which was great. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Do you remember who won the 6-hour event?
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
Of course I do. I mean, actually, you know what's so funny is it was Jarrett from Noob Sanity, right?
Okay. Okay.
Right. So, but I had my money on Ryan for, I had my, I posted something in theirs, because I posted, when I made a post in theirs, because they were all coming down. They have this bus. I don't know if you've ever seen their bus. You
No.
haven't seen it? You got to see it.
No.
It's a giant. It's a school bus. It's giant. It's red, and it's got their logo on it. And they're such a great group of unbelievable athletes, and that's their tour bus, so to speak.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
want to get one of those.
oh yeah, it's so funny, Jared. I remember Jared, who's so. Have you ever met Jared?
No, not in person.
Oh my God, that dude is he's a young guy. He just got the Guinness Book World Record for a ruck. I don't want to minimize what he did, but he does. He's just an amazing athlete, and he's a young guy. But he just had and his dad is an unbelievable athlete also. He did the rower machine. I was watching him for like 24, like a world record. So he comes from some great genes. But anyway, so I posted because they were all coming down in their bus, and I said, hey, you could park the bus here and blah blah blah. And I said, by the way, we all know Ryan's going to win, right? So Ryan Brzezlar, I don't know, Ryan, right? So then Jared just comes down and just totally rips. I mean, this dude he did 9 laps. 9 times 3. That's 27 miles.
Awesome.
6 hours. And he was but he's so smart too. I got to tell you, I've gotten these greatest little bits of advice for like how I think about my obstacle course from him. It's unbelievable. He's like, I don't really, there's having this, I don't mean to steer off, but like, I don't really have experience doing this, right? I just I pick, thankfully, when the day I'm done with Obstacle Wonderland, it's because of me. It's not because of financials or any of the stuff that anybody else has to deal with. I own my property. I have the things here, and I was actually supposed to put up houses before COVID. I was putting up 3 or 4 houses, and then all of a sudden, and that's how this happened. So, but just to get little bits of advice from Jared, just these little one-thingers, it's just like, that's great advice. So he's really smart about that. And so Jared won. Ryan came in second, and CJ, who's a great dude also. They're all great up there. He came in 3. So it was just all Noob Sanity right up on the podiums, which yeah. And Melissa won first place. Melissa won first place in the women's. This wonderful girl, Erin, she came in 3rd, and Kelly from Long Island from Obstacle Athletics came in 2nd. They're all of them are great athletes.
Nice.
So good. It was fun.
That's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like a sweet event.
Yeah. And I have some tough obstacles too. I have some tough obstacles.
I was going to, so sort of backtracking, because you mentioned like they came down on the bus. Since it's your property, how do you handle parking?
So, okay. So how do I handle it? So I handle it in different ways. I actually have a parking area on the top of my obstacle course that I've kind of taped off. So when if I can grab a couple volunteers, we'll guide them there. But honestly, like, I have they park on my lawn, but they're very strategic about parking. And in regards to Jarrett and his bus, like, he literally parked right in my backyard right here. And I wanted him to, because I wanted him to, because, everybody can see his bus, and it's so impressive. And I have really good with hospitality and just in general. So I always want them to feel welcome. So I don't want them to park their bus all the way out there. They're very supportive of here. So I want to reciprocate that. And they parked right here, and they said they were going to camp, but they all showered in my bath. They're not. I mean,
nice.
And then I let them borrow my van, my work van, and they all went down. They all piled into the van, and they drove down to New Paltz to get something to eat afterwards. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but they're but I do that for anybody that comes here. It's but They park right back there. It's good. I have a lot of flexibility to do, quite honestly, whatever. So
Yeah. So I was interviewing some other people a few weeks ago, and they were talking about how, we kind of hypothesized why some companies end up failing, and mostly it's the ones that have multiple events, different places, and have to travel and rent or lease venues. And yeah, so having your own, you're free to do whatever you want. You don't have to pay lease costs. You don't have to like fix up the property afterwards if you don't want to, because it's your land. It's like, it makes a big difference.
it does. It really does, because you can virtually do whatever you want. But on the other side, it's a lot of work.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's not a one and done where you can get a bunch of people to help me move for the weekend. And I don't want to minimize that either, but this is literally like every single day.
Yep. So you did say like it's just you. Is it always just you? Do you ask for volunteers? Do you ever hire anyone on race day to help out, or do you have it streamlined so you can just kind of run the event?
So there's a lot of parts to that. So I want to say one is my girlfriend, Trish. She's I can't say enough. She helps me the most. And what she helps the most with is just keeping me sane. And because Trish she's an OCR girl. So she does the races, she does that. So she's great to bounce ideas off of. So the thing about, so the course itself is, no, I don't really, I don't ask for help. I'm not good at asking for help. I own my own business, so I'm more apt to get my guys together and bring them to my house, and I'll pay them, because it's easier for me to say, hey, I need you to do that, I need you to do that. I'm not super comfortable asking volunteers, hey, I need you to do, because it's just one of those things.
Sure.
I don't even know if that even came out right, but like, it's just easier for me to have more of a control about, I know exactly what I need done.
Yep.
So on race day, I have to say, because of the way my obstacle course is structured, where everything is literally right here, I make 100,000% sure that I mark the trails like you'll never get lost on it. Like I mean, I bulletproof them, because the more I can bulletproof them, the less volunteers I need out there. You also have to remember, although it's 16 acres, unlike Spartan and all the other events, you're not just keep going around, and you're not out of sight. Like the trails are situated where it kind of weaves in and out, so you're never too far away. So I can just station one volunteer at the farthest end of the course, just so I know they're not going to blast through something and end up in the next town. So once I got that established, where one person could kind of drag them in, then there's people there, because all the obstacles are right there. I do have a volunteer here and there, but everybody can supervise the obstacles right from, like, I got one person almost supervise 3 obstacles just the way they're situated. So, but listen, my neighbors, anybody that comes here they always want to help. So I have sisters that come, my mother comes.
That's awesome.
So the day of the race, but thankfully, listen, I did this last race with, I don't know, 2 or 3 volunteers, only because the trails are bulletproof. Like I just know, like, nobody's going to get lost on there, and nobody did. And then the obstacles are all right there. And the volunteers were there in case somebody missed an obstacle to take their band, because it was like a mandatory thing.
Sure.
So, and then the kids races and stuff like that, all the parents volunteer. Brittany, the girl, Brittany Tolman, who does the coaching, and she does that. And she, it's just all the parents help volunteer. So it's, again, because everything is kind of right there and it's permanent, it just makes things so much easier.
That's awesome. I mean, great setup for what you're doing. Yeah.
I really try to make it as turnkey as possible, because like I cannot rely. The only thing I will say is, I had a conversation with a gentleman, and I said, I think the next event, I think I'm going to pay some people. I don't have a problem paying people. I think I might want to, and that's another thing is I want people to race. I don't want people to volunteer.
Yeah.
Like I want you to experience here. Like, so I try to find ways to get other people that maybe aren't in the sport to help me volunteer, like just outside friends. But sometimes that's difficult. But I think I'm getting closer to just, spend a couple bucks. I get 4 people that I can kind of control the whole time and just say, I need you to here, I need you there. And then I think things will go even more seamless because I don't have a group of people, not that I, it's just the way I do things.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but if I could just get 4 people, and just make my course as turnkey as possible, which I strive to every time, then this thing could really just run on its own. You just blow the horn and let them go, and they know exactly where to go and how to do it's just, and everything's right there.
As far as timing your event, how do you handle that? As far, like who gets first, second, how do you judge that?
So, boy, that's a great evolution of this course, because in the beginning, it was just like I didn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
It was just come here and have fun, do the course. But then I got, I'm like, well, maybe I should do timing, but I don't know if you know how much timing costs. It's like,
It's a lot. Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's like really expensive. And, I get 80, 100 people. As much as I want to do that and do like a professional thing, it's just like, I don't know if you know, but obstacle courses don't make money. So like, just so we're not, all right. So to invest to spend another $800 to $1,000 for timing with chips in. So I experimented with self-timing, the apps and stuff. And here's how great the people that come here are. This is how great they are. I did my first timing with the app. And I'm going to tell you, I did like 500 test trials, right? 500. It's just like, pretend this person's going, right? And I'm like, all right, I got it. So of course, race day comes, and boy, I didn't get it at all. Like I messed it up so bad. It was my summer jam race. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like I just messed it up so bad.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Nobody cared. No, nobody. You know why nobody cared? Because I really think that the folks that come here, they know they're going to come here and get a completely different experience than anywhere else. People come here, they're friends. They see the people that come here, the competitive people, see each other at Vernon or see each other at all these other places, right? So they're here to support a small local race. They like me. They like coming here, the vibe. There's no pressure. They can work on their game, but still feel competitive. They like that I have air fried Twinkies at the end, or my girlfriend makes these unbelievable cupcakes. They just like the whole vibe of it. So it's just like, yeah, whatever, man, whatever. They see that I'm trying. They see that I'm making the effort. And a lot of them that have seen this over the past 4 years have seen it go from a rope on a tree to telephone poles and the bone frog rig, the bone frog rig there and stuff. So, but it doesn't, I still feel terrible, but they're good. So, so a little bit more evolving through that, like this last one, Asa, he timed it for me because he's much more versed at that app than I am. So he did the timing and it worked out great. It's
Nice.
Now it's a thing. Now we can kind of, now again, without spending a ton of money, because I want to keep the races at an affordable price. There's so much expense that goes into this, but to do another expense on top of it, it's I just got to find a different way.
Sure.
So a little bit.
So you mentioned keeping the race at an affordable cost. I've been all over your website. I've been all over almost every event's website doing research for that article and like tons of other stuff. But Can you talk to how much you normally charge for your events? And I think probably most people, if they're listening to this, are already in obstacle course racing and have probably seen or done a Spartan. Spartans are getting wildly expensive.
Mhm.
Just like a sprint, I think is, if you don't have a discount code, is like 160 or so dollars after fees, taxes, maybe even a little bit more now. It's a lot. So yeah, how much in general are you charging? I know you have different lengths of events and stuff, but
I will say this is I I'm not again, like I've said before, I'm not an obstacle course race. I'm kind of not even, I'm a very, I haven't done very many, but what I do know is I'm on the Spartan forums and stuff. Yeah, I can't, just for my obstacle course, and the cost that I incur here, I can't even imagine what these guys have to pay.
yeah,
So for me, it's a double-sided view. Whereas when just as you reacted, Sprint's like $120. And I'm just like, yeah, I know it's a lot, but man, I mean, just think of the expense that goes with it, whether it's the insurance and the manpower to bring all that stuff, and then they pay people. And what happens if yes, if it rains, or what happens if you go into a town and it just turns out like it stales up? I mean, just it's almost, I'm not a big fan of Joe, because I'm not a big fan of his, only because I'm not a big fan of how he treats smaller venues.
okay.
I have no problem saying that. Like, I think he should do a better job, and I'm going to tell you why. But I'd like to tell you why, but I want to finish that answer. Is I don't know. I I'm so again I'm so I make decisions on my own. It's so hard because I don't have the experience. I mean, I own a welding shop. Like this is all just new. So I test it. $60, 50, 60, $70. But I spend a lot of money on the metals. I want to make sure, like, I don't know if you know my metals, but man, I want to make sure when people leave here, they're just like, do you see my 6 hour medal? It was like this big. It was just
That's awesome.
like I want my medal on Metal Mondays. I want
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
My summer jam was like a pair of glasses. It's like summer glass, like, and it was real. It was good. It was quality. It's not like, so I want to, that's like, I make sure that that's good. So, and there's a cost to that. And plus, the food that we bring in, we just, the swag, we try to give out swag and stuff. So $60 is what I did. I set up this, my next race is Halloween, and I put out a early bird discount for like $35, because I'm going to try a volume approach now and see
Yeah.
what happens. It doesn't matter for me. It doesn't matter if 10 people show up or 100. I would like 100 people to show up, but again, because everything is already there. But I do it mostly to try to find out, okay, so what is somebody willing to pay to come to a backyard obstacle course? And I hate saying that, but that's, that it really is what I am, versus the pomp and circumstance of Spartan or Tough Mudder and stuff like that. So, you know, it really is like, I'm going to try the $35 and see what happens and see where that goes. But it'll slowly increase as we get to, October.
Mhm.
But I think $50 for races like mine help. But then again, smaller races like mine, some of them are charging $150 also. And it's just like,
That is true. Yep. Yeah.
so where is it?
I think, yeah, I don't think there's a right answer. I think it comes down to the event itself and what it costs to run the event and keep the event coming back year after year. And if you can do tickets at 35 and get the volume there, and that makes it worth it, so you're not losing money and can't run the events anymore, then that's awesome. Like
Mhm.
if I see a ticket for 35 for a race near me, I'm probably going to that race, because even if the experience isn't like this grand, thing like OCR World Championship or like a big Spartans become very redundant now, but more like what it used to be, then like, yeah, I mean, even if it's not that, it's still worth the $35, $50, $60, because I've been to several local races near me. I'm down in North Carolina, and yeah, they don't have like massive, crazy obstacles, nothing insanely technical, but they still have a good course, like decent challenges in between, and a fun environment. And that's like 80% of the fun. I like to do competitive also, but I still have fun at those events too. So yeah, whatever you can charge. And like, I think that's an insanely fair price for an event like that. And even though you said it's a yard obstacle, literally a backyard obstacle course, like if you have good obstacles and you've set it up well and you run it well, it doesn't matter where it is, it's worth it.
I'll tell you, I have one of the best obstacle courses out there. Like I just I know. I just know. And it's just a matter of getting more people to come through here. But anytime they come, every time people come here, they always leave with a great experience because like I make sure of it, whether it's just all those little things, whether it's what you put in a bag or making sure that nobody gets lost and saying hello to people and saying goodbye to people. I'm out there. Or, this one is, and I always do themed events now. This one was Boogie Wonderland, right? So it was a 70s theme. So if you see on my Facebook page, you see me and my girlfriend, we're dressed up as the gold dancers from the 80s. We both have gold suits on.
Nice.
For Halloween, I was, had been my big pimp hat. And so, but I always try to make it a fun themed event but it's competitive at the same time. So, guys like, my friend Peter, who's, really heavy duty into it, he can come there and be competitive, but also he gets to see, Nathan Lambert, who came dressed as a piñata, and every time his wife hit him with a pole, he would drop candy. That's what happens here.
That's awesome.
Because everybody, so that's what I try to do. And when you see that, I really think I have a crazy good obstacle course because I really want people to have that experience. And I think it's because I really make sure that the functionality and the logistics are good. But then again, I do everything.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, sorry. On your course, which obstacle that you have is your favorite, and which obstacle do you think is the hardest for the general like racer who comes to your event?
I'm going to start with that one first because there is no doubt it's the Weaver. And this is it's about 3 feet high off the ground, and it's these PVC pipes that span about 8 feet. And it's floor is lava, right? So you got to kind of weave up and over them without touching the ground. But if you talk to anybody, and if you listen to Mike's podcast, he interviewed a bunch of people, and they had the same question. Everybody said Weaver because it's such a hard obstacle. But again, it goes back to you have competitive guys like, whether it's Jared or Ryan and all those guys, you can't touch the ground. So they really have to stretch and grab, and it is very taxing on them. But on the 5K, 10K, you have the average people that are going there because they're just, it's their own event. They're running it, and they go up, they crawl over it, they go under, they go, whatever they want to do to make themselves feel accomplished, they can do it. So in one respect, it's great for the person who's just starting out, but it's super hard for the real competitors even, and Jeff Boomhauer, who lives down the road, who's just an unbelievable OCR guy. Like, he is just crazy good. Like, he just says to me, man, that is the hardest obstacle ever. So that's the hardest one out there. And so to ask me my favorite is that one because my favorite because it's different. And people talk about it, how hard it is, but how much fun it is all that same breath. So it's like a double-edged sword.
So you said it's made of PVC?
It's just PVC pipes. Just they're just, and the obstacle is only about 3 feet high. So if you fall, you're not falling
Right.
from 12 feet high. But yeah, you should check it out. You can't miss it. Like everybody just complains about it all the time, but in a good way. And it's not that far in the race where you're completely wiped out. But I have to say, for the 6 hour, the 3 and the 6 hour, they do it, you know. The good thing about owning my own course is I get to kind of make rules. So one of my biggest things is that nobody gets lost, nobody gets hurt. So probably an hour before the end of the event, I closed off that obstacle and I let them bypass it because, look, it's hard and it's really hard and you guys are worn out and it's cold. I'm going to have you bypass it because I know you got to go to Spartan in a couple weeks. I know I don't want to be the place where somebody says, yeah, I hurt myself at Obstacle Wonderland. And now they're out for, 6 months or something from someone like that. So, I know these guys are here to train, but I don't want them to get hurt here. So I just closed that off. They had their share of it, but it's a really challenging obstacle. Like here of all places.
Yeah. So part of what I've been trying to do with these interviews, you're actually only the second one so far, but I've reached out to other people to get more for the local races, is try and figure out, to find out from each one, like what the hardest part of putting a race on, because I talked with Aaron and Dana about this in the last one. I don't think people understand about how challenging it is. And you have talked about some of that already, the logistics, the time, putting it together, you move obstacles around, and you pretty much run the whole show yourself. But what aspect of hosting an event do you find the most challenging? And then once you've answered that, kind of a two-parter, as far as marketing goes, what kind of things do you do to reach out to try and let people know about your event?
So I have to say the hardest part of I have to say the hardest part is actually the scheduling.
Okay.
Because, what's funny is this is the hardest part, and I'll give you an example. So December comes or whatever, right? And so people like me, people like Asa from Viking, the smaller events, we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs waiting for, Spartan to put out their race. See it, right? This is why I'm not a big fan of Joe. So we sit here and we twiddle our thumbs, right? Last year, I put on 4 or 5 events, right? So here comes December. So we're waiting. So the Spartan schedule comes out. And it's like, okay, so now we're all scrambling to put dates in. So then Spartan changes the dates for something. I think it's in August or something. It's not impacting you because you're in a different region, but there was a race that was here. Now it's going to be over here. And now the dates that people had put in for August now it's like, because you're not going to compete with Spartan. You're
Right.
not, and you don't want to either. It's not necessary. But I'm going to say that's the biggest challenge because there's nothing worse than making this investment, taking the time out, putting the material together, getting the medals together, and then all of a sudden something changes because, I hate to say it, but Spartan moves their dates and stuff, or Tough Mudder. And so now you scrap it. And if you remember in the beginning of our interview, I said, I do best before and after. Right. So I know there's not going to be a race in April or beforehand, and I'll wait for the race season to be over in October and I can have that. And so that's now where my focus is just those two. And so the hardest part is setting up the schedule. And the second part to that question was
marketing. So what do you do on your end to try and reach out, bring more people in, all that stuff?
Honestly, it's just, I just use Facebook. I have a girl that does my social media, my website. That's one thing that I don't, that she does. And she's great. Megan is great. And the only thing I really do is just try to come up with creative events. Like, this is a boogie wonderland, you know, and Halloween is big because people dress up, but I try to do it different. Like, to me, it's got to be something themed. It's got to be something different, because if I just say come to the Halloween race, or come to the, April 5K, 10K,
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like, I don't want people to think that they're coming to the same, having a permanent course is good and it's bad, because, oh, it's just the same thing over. It's kind of like Spartan. It's just like you go to Vernon, it's the same thing. But some people like that. But I want it to be different. So whether it's, remember we talked about how many obstacles, I can take this one, put this one in. I might not bring this in for a whole year, and then all of a sudden it's there. Next thing you know, I got a big a 40-foot container now, and it's filled with water. Like, where did this come from?
Cool.
So it's something different, but also having it themed, like 70s, or doing it that way. I was going to do a trail race that was holy guacamole, and I have a friend who works at a taco place, and we are going to bring tacos and rockin' chips at the end, so it's stuff like that is probably the helpful thing. And plus, I'll dress up in something and try to promote the race. And so again, I'm a one-man band, and I literally have to do all, I try to do that. But it's you're kind of really hamstrung with the Spartan stuff. But I don't blame it, because it is the pomp and circumstance. But I will always say this, is that Joe, and I'll say this right now, Joe, you're welcome, because people come here, people go to Viking, people go to all these other smaller races to prepare for yours. Right? They prepare for yours. I have real rings. They want to come here to prepare for their graduation to Spartan, which I'm all for.
Sure.
But I just wish he gave us a little bit more credit, because he thinks everybody wants to take his stuff, and it's just silly. It's just like I gave out Spartan race passes. Ken Radicny, Ken's a great dude. He's a Spartan ambassador, and Ken, he has access to free race codes, and he gives me them to give as prizes, and I give them as prizes to the 5 and the 10K people, the beginner people. But I don't give them. I did them. You know where I did them? I hid golden eggs for this race, right? So inside there was a free race, a Spartan race. But I don't want to give it to the first place guy. No, I want to give it to the person who's just here for the second time. And I was like, okay, I like this stuff. Okay. And they talk about Spartan, or they're afraid to go to Spartan. So now, or they can't afford it, right? Which I'm going to tell you one other thing about that. So now they got a free race, right? And it's by Ken, who's a great dude, and he gives me these, and now I can offer somebody that's an average person like me to go out there and really experience that, because it is an experience. And so that's a good part. But on the other side is, at least here on my course too, the whole money thing. I have this pay it forward program where I'll tell coaches that come with groups that, hey, if you got somebody that can't afford it, or is just let me know, and I'll give you a free pass. And I don't want money to be an obstacle for people not to come here. So, like, I don't know how to say it without making it sound weird, but it's just like, I tell these people, just like, listen, if there's somebody who can't afford it, just tell me and I'll just do it. It's just like, what's the big deal? Just let's not take advantage of it. But, and I have the kids races for $7, and the only reason why is because I just want the parents to have a little skin in the game, because I don't want everybody to sign up because it's free and then nobody shows up, or people that, you know what I mean? Because I can only spend so much money on that. So,
yeah.
But $7, like, there's no reason why you can't bring your kid here. Not only that, but she or he's gonna get out there, and they're gonna run around. They're gonna get a medal. They're gonna get all kinds of good stuff, and then they can play on the obstacles after. It's just a whole family thing. So again, that it's that whole encompassing thing. And I know I got kind of veered off course, but the marketing thing is exactly that, because I've made it $7 for kids. I've made it where some of the coaches, local coaches, if some of their people that are just trying to get into it can't afford it, or, because, things are expensive now and people are not traveling and not doing things because of money. And then just trying to create, fun themed events that people can dress up and do stuff, and have fun. It's just make it a family day.
$7 kid races. That's awesome. Like, so I have a son who's a year and a half, quite, too small, maybe. He's pretty athletic for obstacles, but like one day, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
And I would encourage, I guess I can't encourage other people, the races, to do that, but I contribute. This was one of your questions on their thing, but like I donate a lot of stuff back locally, and the area I live in is, it's not a wealthy neighborhood, so to speak. So a lot of the race proceeds, I take some of it and I donate back to the local school, and I try to get the local kids to come here and just kind of come to some of the races, and I do like a kids class every once in a while and during the summer, but I try to make it super affordable so that there's no reason why just parents just got to commit to coming here for 45 minutes and let them run around. And so I just hope that other places take that same thing, because kids these days, they really just need to get out there and kind of run and learn how to. You remember when you and I were kids? Like we scaled chain link fences, and
I'm not even going to tell you what I did, but I did a lot of climbing things.
Yeah. So yeah, stuff like that.
One question I wanted to ask about, on your website there's a membership section. So do people purchase memberships to the obstacle course outside of events so that they come and train?
Yeah, I kind of tried that. I've been trying that because there's people that want to come here and train because, right, so between now and October, I don't have any events. So I have open field. So somebody can pay $20 and come here and spend the whole day and work on their monkey bars. Everything is here that they were training for. They can use the trails, or somebody can buy a season pass, and you want to come every day, you come every day. You can go to any of my races, and you pretty much have carte blanche to the whole thing. So,
awesome.
I put that there. But really, like, all this is just to help pay the bills. Because, like, not that I mow the whole property, but it's expensive to mow. And, now that the rain has stopped and the summer gets going, it's literally like every week you have to mow. And it doesn't take 45 minutes. It takes literally 6-7 hours to mow. And so it's expensive. And the obstacles, they just need to be upkept and stuff. So I really just try to find ways to just generate income to go back in there to maintain the field. That's all. That's really much it. So I'm trying that out.
Nice.
And there's some people that have taken advantage of it, and anything to help pay the bills, I suppose.
Yeah. Upkeep. That's the thing with the permanent course, is upkeep year round instead of just having it for a few weeks or a month or whatever. And extra costs and extra considerations incurred.
Yeah.
Have you created any obstacles there that it's hard to say unique because there's so many different events and it's impossible to know all of the different obstacles are out there. But do you have any obstacles that are more unique compared to others you've seen at other events?
I really wish I can say yes, but I'm going to say I'm really going to say no. And the only unique one I would say is that
Okay.
Weaver. But you know what's really funny is you hear me talk about I'm just using them. I'm going to use these two examples. So there's a gentleman. His name is Kevin. He's from Obstacle Athletics, and he's kind of like a ninja gym. And a lot of he brings his people up here. And so it's a ninja gym. So they're not used to um, a Herc hoist, right? Because did I lose you again? I lost you.
Dang.
Oh, there you
Oh,
are.
we're back. Yes. Much better. Okay, good. Keep going.
Where
You said, I think Kevin at an obstacle gym.
right, Kevin, he owns
Perfect.
Obstacle Athletics, but it's a ninja gym. So
Yep.
when their folks come up here, they're not used to a Herc hoist, right? Because they
Sure.
don't really do Herc hoist in a closed-in gym.
Hmm.
One of the more interesting things is I mentioned Jared Noob Sanity. He's a permanent course, right?
Hmm.
But when they come here, they're not used to climbing a 20-foot rope because they don't have one there. And they do a lot of like savage and tough mutters where it's certainly different. Where my only experience came with Spartan obstacles. So I have an Olympus, I have a spear throw, and then somebody said, don't forget they could just go somewhere else and they can just go to a Spartan. You got to come up with different things. So
Hmm.
that's where the Weaver came in. And then I purchased the Bone Frog rig when they went out of business. So although it's different and some people were used to it, not everybody really got a chance to use it. Um, so again, because I'm not so well versed with the whole thing,
Hmm.
I would love for someone to say, "Hey, can I build you an obstacle, like a cool obstacle?" Or so. Because I'm gonna say this, I don't claim to be the be all. Like anytime somebody comes to me, I'm always open for suggestions. I am not impervious to criticism or any of that stuff. Please tell me because, man, you don't know what it's like to just do this on your own and just hope like this. You see my
Yeah.
girl, how bad I stress out, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get all this done before the race, and it's just raining for days. I'm out there, and it's just like, how is this going to work? And then 2 days later, it works.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm always up for suggestions, and I'd love to hire. Well, if it's affordable, I'd love to get somebody like, um, you know, Aaron to come over here and build an obstacle. But it's something I can't afford to. I mean, I have no problem putting money into it, but I can, I can't, I don't have that deep of
Yeah.
pockets.
Yeah. No,
But
I get it.
I'm always looking for something interesting. I built this thing. I have a pond actually on the property too, and I have a water obstacle, and I put a bunch of barrels together, and people love it. They're like, it's like they're going across. I mean, it's safe if they fall. They're only going to go in up to their knees, but
Yeah.
it's something different. So I would say that's probably about different because there's a pond there, and you
Nice.
might see that very often. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. But
Cool.
it is challenging to kind of always kind of think of something different that people are going to leave and say. But in the end, people still have a good time, even if it's the same stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
Agreed. Like n- I've been to a lot of races, a lot of different brands. I try as many as I can as is possible anyway. Um, and while variety is nice, it's not always the best. And uh, to me, it was the thing I found most rewarding about trying different races is I did so many Spartans early on because they had the season pass and
Yeah.
it was very convenient. And I was living in Virginia before. There was a lot of races around that I could make it to at the time. And so it was trying new races. The obstacles didn't need to be fancy. They didn't need to be big. They just needed to be a little bit different than what I was used to at Spartan. So it was awesome. So I think anyone who's done a lot of races, going to local ones, almost every single local race I've been to has a unique obstacle, even if it's not something big or fancy. Like one local run around here. I'm going to mix. There's two that I went to last year. I'm going to mix them up. But they had a school bus, an old broken down school bus, and they just had like lines running through it that you had to weave your way through. And it's not hard. It slows you down a lot because you could get tangled up in the rope and stuff. But it's unique. I'd never seen that anywhere else. Other courses have like barbed wire you crawl under or things like that, but not weaving through a broken down bus trying to like make your way through the course. So just little things like that. It's unique. It's fun. It's different. Obstacles in it. All that's awesome.
I would love that one day. There would be a forum, which maybe there is something out there that race directors would kind of be okay giving out like suggestions and stuff like that we could just kind of almost like put our egos in our back pocket and just say, listen, nobody's stealing anybody's business, or nobody's stealing like top secret info, like
right.
And like I have so many like just normal like I'm willing to trade, like, hey, you want to borrow some of my stuff and I'll borrow one of your things. It's just like I'm happy to do. I got these weird ropes that would look probably great in somebody's obstacle, or somebody would know a great thing to do with them. It's just like, I don't know. But here, I'll trade you this for this. It'd be, I think that would be cool, but I don't know how, wishful thinking.
Sure. So you're in Wallkill, New York. I'm saying that correctly. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Around you, are there any other local obstacle course races? I know Spartan hosts some events semi nearby, but are there any other events within a few hours of you?
So yes. So one is I keep forgetting you're in North Carolina. So when I talk about, you're just like you probably don't even know where I'm referring to. But so there's one. It's Viking obstacle course up probably. I don't know if you know Asa.
Don't know him, but I know Viking just from research.
So he's about an hour and 15 minutes from here, hour and 20 minutes north. And then there's Boulder Dash race. That's in Rhode Island. Fit Challenge, although he doesn't do obstacles anymore, was up in Rhode Island, which isn't that far. I keep referring to Jared at Noob Sanity, but there's a place called Noob Sanity there in Binghamton, New York, and they host 5 or 6 events up there, and he's 2 hours, I believe. He's about 2 hours. Yeah. But I would say those are probably the more larger ones, local, like permanent obstacle courses. There's not too many traveling road shows that come through here. Spartan over in Vernon, New Jersey, and Bone Frog, I think, is trying to make a comeback, and that would be over in Pennsylvania. But well,
did you? I mean, I hate to be the one to break bad news. So Bone Frog came back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they're gone again.
Yeah, and it goes back to can you imagine why?
I mean, I have my ideas based on certain information, but I don't know the exact reasons.
And I don't know the exact reason, but I will tell you this, and it goes back to our conversation earlier. As a race director, like there's a reason why Bone Frog stopped initially. Right? There's a lot of money to take the tractor trailer to set up. The numbers aren't there anymore. That whole thing. They survived COVID, but it's just different. It's just different, right? Now it's a different time. And so when they tried to revive it and they came out with this very aggressive schedule, it's just like, okay, so you're trying, and I'm not trying to criticize or anything, but just looking at it as another race, it's just like, okay, so, but that company went out of business for doing that. Like, what makes you think that you're going to do it any different? The costs are still there. If not, they're even more. And not only that, but you're taking such an aggressive position by going so far away from where
Mm.
Bone Frog is really it's kind of more of a Northeast thing. I mean, now you're kind of going all the way out. I think they were going to put one on in North Carolina
Yeah, Charlotte, I believe.
and although it may be a known thing for guys like you who are very in depth, embedded into the sport, I don't know, but the cost. Like, it doesn't matter. You can call it a bologna and cheese sandwich, and you still got to pay the gas. You still have to transport that stuff. You still have to put it up. It's just the cost. And then just to see, it's just like, when Bone Frog went out again, it's just like, okay, but how did you not? What makes you think that you're going to do it when they couldn't? So. And I don't mean that in a critical manner.
Yeah.
Also, but
No.
I think they just personally, I think it would have been better if they just focused locally, tried little, because all you do is you just encourage Joe at Spartan, and just say, see, Spartan, it's the only place to go,
Well, I mean, so I don't have anything.
And I'm not saying it in a bad way either.
Yeah.
Just pointing out facts.
I don't have, like, Spartan got me into the sport. I still like Spartan. I had some of, like, the best fitness experiences of my life at Spartan races. But part of the reason we're doing this interview now, part of the reason why we run the series, why we're doing, like, the OCR's greatest competition this year, is because I don't think people realize how many choices there actually are outside of Spartan, even with Rugged Maniac going under, even with Bone Frog going under. Again, I'm not laughing because it's funny, just because it's ironic. Like Terrain Race and Dirty Dash. Terrain Race, both, I think they're owned by the same company. It looked like they were both gone. They hadn't announced events. I think Terrain Race still hasn't, but Dirty Dash may have just announced them. It's very confusing. I don't know how long they'll be around, even if they make it to events this year. So, like, even with all of those many races, because they hosted a lot of events across those like 4 different companies, there's still at least 100 local ones that I found, which means there's more across the US. So, like, people have options almost no matter where they live. There's some dark spots in the US where not many are held, but West Coast, East Coast, and a lot in between, Midwest, there's tons of events. Like, there's options out there, and with a lot of cool obstacles, a lot of cool unique setups like yours. Yeah, there's a lot out there for people to experience.
And not only that, but we're places like ours and that whole series that you're doing. I mean, this is the minor leagues for the major league.
Mm-hmm.
This is where, like, you can't have major league without minor league. So that's the part that kind of frustrates me a bit, is that they don't take, like, they don't give too much. I mean, it takes people like you and people like Russ from OCR Buddy to kind of, and the guys up that are trying to rally these smaller groups together.
Yep.
Because listen, I'm going to give you a perfect example. My neighbor right there, too. They're mid-40s, great people. Never, ever, ever, ever did anything remotely related to something like this, right? So all of a sudden, hey, my crazy neighbor is building this crazy obstacle course back there. We might as well go over there and support them. They come over here, they're hooked. They've done 15 Spartans. They never would have done it if it wasn't for here. Now, I'm not saying they never would have been exposed to it, but how many of those places that you're talking about, those 100 small events, create that person that goes and says, hey, I want to go to the big leagues, which is a Spartan or a Tough Mudder. And that's where their exposure, and that they turn into that athlete, and they change their entire lives around. A lot of times and the kids, right? This is why you do $7 races, because you want that kid to learn how to jump over that wall, because next thing you know, then all of a sudden, hey, can I do the kids the races that they have in the baseball fields, whatever they're called, you know what I mean, right? The ones that are inside uh
The Spartan
the
stadiums or what?
the stadiums,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, next thing you know, they're doing stadium races. Next thing you know, you change their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we, you know, places like mine, and I'm really not boasting mine. I'm just trying to say that these smaller events where you can come and not be judged and feel that you're not out in the middle of nowhere, and that you're not spending, you know, a lot of money, although I understand where the costs come. But those
Mm-hmm.
are the, you know, this is where this starts. This is where maybe somebody can't afford to do 4 Spartan races, but can afford to do local races, and then that one. So I complete, and that's why I love what you're doing, and I totally encourage it, and that's why I'm really, like, it bums me out when the bigger races are not, they don't kind of look at us as like we're trying to help feed you, and you know, we're not asking for much, but just a bit recognition to say, hey, you know, or promote some of the smaller races too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I get that standpoint. It makes sense. And yeah, I mean, yeah, from
Yeah,
business standpoint, I know why they don't, but they could if they wanted to. And it's up to them. It's their business, their
yeah.
literal business and their figurative business. So,
But if
but
anybody's listening from Rugged Maniac, I want that inflatable slide, and I'm willing to pay for it. I want it here. It's so fun. You know, I even reached out to them. I'm like,
okay, I was gonna say, do you know anyone over there?
what's fun, you know what's funny is, I'll tell you this is, when Rugged Maniac came out, you know, it's you see all the posts. You know, when a place goes out, everybody's things aren't going to be the same, and another one out, like another one out, and you know, and here's me on our Facebook post. It's like, sorry to see you go, but how about that slide? Can I get it?
Hey, if it's got to be gone, at least you can get the
And
slide.
I'll leave the name on there. Like, I don't have a problem. I'm not going to change it. I mean, I have Bone Frog's bell still up there, and you know, I bought some stuff from Kevin from Obstacle Athletic, who closed his. I'm leaving his logo on there too. Like, I don't have a problem leaving people. I don't want to. I want people to know that it came from there,
Yeah.
because I think that's the cool part. And so, yeah, if anybody's listening from there, I mean, I'm willing to spend the money. I would love that thing.
Did they ever respond?
Okay, so so watch this. I think I've heard that Spartan bought all their stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And why? So nobody else does it. Nobody else opens it up, which, you know, it's good business sense. You know, just buy the competitor stuff out and put it in a closet and leave it there, so nobody can start up another one. I could be
Yeah.
100% wrong, but I did effort that, and everybody was so excited. You know, everybody's like, yeah, that'd be cool to have the
Get the
slide out.
slide. Get the slide.
Like, I totally wanted to do that. So I
Uh,
don't want to go out and buy my own, because that's not as fun. Like,
no.
yeah, it'd be fun if I had like a, you know, that one. But so if anybody's listening, I'm willing to buy it.
Nice. Yeah, I don't encourage the sad demise of races, but if they are gone, you might
Yeah,
as well get some of the obstacles so people can still enjoy them
right.
and have the logo on there and everyone can remember it.
Hand some of that stuff down. To give the smaller events. It's only going to encourage. It's only going to encourage the people that come to these small races to go and do the bigger races.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, if I ever make any connections who were tapped in with Rugged Maniac, I'll see if I can talk to them about that.
There's this guy. Oh man.
Oh, okay, we're good. We're good. It glitched
Yeah,
for a second, but we're good.
yeah, you can say, hey, there's this guy with his backyard obstacle course, and yeah, he'd really like that slide.
Yeah, just send it over there, please. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
I mean, he's willing to pay for it.
I'll say it's a charitable donation. We can
Yes.
get it to you for free. Maybe shipping costs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm really bad at making these things short. We've gone a little while, but that's awesome because you've gotten to share about the event, where it came from, like experiences from it, especially this weekend, which is awesome. I think anyone listening to this will have a much better understanding of what Obstacle Wonderland is, what to expect when they come there, how much it costs. Because, like, I think, yeah, if people haven't done local OCRs, they just assume they're expensive events, and a lot of them are under $100. And you said the Halloween event's going for 35 right now, obviously scaled pricing, but yeah, if someone wants to sign up now, $35, very hard to beat, especially considering you have solid obstacles. Thank you for telling us about all this. I've done research, but I learned a lot. If I'm maybe one day I'll be moving back to Pennsylvania. And if I do, that'll be an easy shot over there. And then even if I don't, it'd be awesome to get up there. Hopefully next year. Work dependent, work's a beast of its own, but it'd be awesome to make it, especially for the long event. I haven't gotten to do a long one in a while, and I would love to suffer and do 6 hours of obstacles. So I had a final thing. Oh no, what was it?
I will tell you this. If I'm going to tell you this, and a couple of things. One is thank you very much for taking an interest in me and my obstacle course. That's huge because that means a lot. And also, you're always welcome here, and I guarantee you'll have a great time when you come here. Because especially for the 6 hour, because we're going to little by little every year it's getting bigger and more competitive. So I think if you came next year, you'll love it. But the fact that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you can always see what's going on here because I know you make comments every once in a while. So I appreciate that, and I really do. It means a lot because it's really it's hard to kind of when just it's good that people get to that guys like you are like it's humbling that you guys people like you would kind of want an interest know about this place and stuff. So that's really hard for me even to get out, but I appreciate it.
I just want everyone else to know about it so that like attendance stays good, people get the experience, they fall like first timers especially, or well, whatever. First timers get into the sport and they're like, what else is out there too? And they get all the experiences that I've had doing obstacle course races over the years. So yeah.
And part of their money goes to like we donate to the local school, right? I mean, the locals, like the elementary school here, we bought a bunch of headphones for them for their Chromebooks, and
nice.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, but last year we donated. And actually last Christmas I donated $900 worth of toys to 3 families from the Christmas race that I had here.
Nice.
So some of the racers brought some stuff, and then we went out and bought more. And then then the next year there was a family with kids that it's right, and I bought bicycles for all of them and helmets and
that's awesome.
all that stuff. Yeah, and now this one I got a bunch of Chromebook headphones. Apparently they go bad and kids can't afford them. And I shouldn't say kids. They're there. So and then bottled water. I had no idea that they could always use bottled water. So yeah, we're gonna bring a bunch of bottled water. And I'm a animal lover, so I always donate to the local animal shelter. And people, when they come here, when they know, like I got a bunch of stuff, so I'll take that and I'll grab a bunch of stuff and bring it over to them. So I always redonate, and just it's good. It's good, especially the elementary school. I like doing that stuff.
It's awesome. Community in the sport supports the community itself. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have so Obstacle Wonderland, Wallkill, New York. You have the Halloween race coming up. What are you calling that one?
Halloweird.
Nice. Okay.
Get your
Nice.
weird on.
I like it. Okay. So, sweet.
I'm going to tell you something. I know last year I took the sandbags and I wrapped them in garbage bags and I put caution tape on them so they look like dead bodies. Right. And then I got a pool and I put red dye in it and I put the sandbags in there.
Oh,
So
that's morbid.
that was the first obstacle. You had to dig a dead body, throw it over your shoulder, and do a sandbag carries the first.
That's unique.
Oh, they love, it's stuff like that, right? That's the stuff. That's what you got. Yeah, but everybody loved. Awesome. They got a kick out of it.
Oh man, yeah. That if anyone asks from now on, if you have any unique obstacle, that's it. That's the one pulling dead bodies out of pools of blood for Halloween.
The better part was I bought a bunch of inflatable dolls on Amazon. So somebody caught me, somebody took a picture of me at work blowing up these inflatable dolls. And I'm like, dude, I swear it's for the race. I put them in bags and I hung them for that was the finish line. You had to go through the dead bodies.
Oh my goodness. That's a Halloween race for sure.
Yeah, it is fun. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, so we have the Halloween race in October. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. So if people want to find you, Obstacle Wonderland, Google it. It'll be the top hit. I've used it on different browsers and different search engines. It's always the top hit. Same thing on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Do you have any other accounts besides Instagram and Facebook?
No, that's it.
Okay, cool. And I've seen tons of your posts, like any information anyone would want to know about the events upcoming, any of that stuff, it's on there. So, and if they didn't get the full picture from this, they can get even more from that. So,
yeah. And if anybody contacts me through Facebook or Google, like email, it comes right to me. So you're always going to talk to me. There's no, cool. There's no staff. I'm the staff. So
no customer service lines they can go through.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Gabe. We hit almost an hour and a half, I think, which that's good.
That's good.
I think that's about as long as the last one was, and I didn't even realize it till it was late and I had to leave the interview early, which was horrible, but it's all right.
You did a great job. It's very engaging. You did a great job. I'm sure everybody's going to love it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on. Man, I hope we make a 20-year event soon. And even if we aren't there in the near future, I hope they continue to do well and you get tons of participants and everyone loves it and has a great time.
Yeah, and I appreciate you always. I appreciate how you plug us too. So, or take interest in us. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you.